Every day we make important decisions which will dictate the outcome of our lives, whether it is short-term or long-term. However, sometimes these decisions are nightmares in disguise, at least for the characters in both Hamlet and Leaving Home. Whether you consider the decision to seek revenge for a dead father, or if you should go through with a marriage you're not so confident about, the dilemmas that both the Hamlet and the Mercer families face will have a significant impact on not just their lives, but the people closest to them. Hello, Miss Vono and classmates. After a lot of in-depth analysis and studying, I've put together a seminar to analyze Hamlet written by Shakespeare and Leaving Home by David French. In 1607, Shakespeare's story of a tragic hero named Hamlet was first showcased. The play begins on a dark, cold night where the ghost of the dead king in Denmark, old Hamlet, encounters his son, Hamlet, and tells him about how his uncle Claudius killed him in order to inherit the throne and marry his widowed wife. After giving Hamlet this information, he suggests Hamlet avenges his death by murdering his uncle. After accepting the challenge, we start to see Hamlet's downfall begin. One of the biggest flaws is procrastination and his indecisiveness, which leads him on losing out on many opportunities to kill Claudius and results in the death of many other characters as well. As the play goes on, Claudius starts to catch on to Hamlet's plan, and the plot shows how he will murder Hamlet. After lots of death, love, madness, and procrastination, the play concludes with a setup duel between Hamlet and Laertes. During this time, both king and queen kill themselves with poisoning used to kill old Hamlet. Finally, Hamlet meets his end to a poke of a poisoned sword. Throughout the play, conflict is evident, especially person versus person conflict. For instance, in Act 4, when Claudius doesn't know how to punish Hamlet for killing Polonius, he decides to send Hamlet to England to be killed and covers it up by saying he's sending him away without the death context. Another of many examples of person versus person conflict is when Laertes expresses his hatred towards Hamlet after finding out he killed his father. This hatred is reinforced when Ophelia, Laertes' sister, commits suicide because of everything that goes on. This conflict comes to an end when Laertes shows a sense of respect for Hamlet when he finds out why Hamlet did everything he did, and when Hamlet accepts his deserved fate. Throughout the play, we notice how Hamlet is losing his saying has a very significant effect on for those who are around him. Since Hamlet is causing so much havoc, we start to feel a sense of pathos for Ophelia for several reasons. For starters, Hamlet accidentally murders her father when mistakes him for Claudius spying on him. This death had a huge impact on Ophelia's mental health, and we can safely assume that the incident, what pushed her towards taking her own life. Prior to this, we also observe how she is separated from Hamlet by her father. Polonius notices how Hamlet is losing his sanity and senses. He will have a negative effect on Ophelia, hence the demand. Ophelia stays away from Hamlet for good. Essentially, we notice Hamlet's downfall is driven by the theme of revenge. From the moment Hamlet discovers Claudius is responsible for the murder of his father, he refuses to let anything stop him from getting his revenge. However, he does not consider the consequences that his bloodthirst mindset has caused not just for himself, but for those who are around him. This is something that can be carried on into our lives every day. Majority of teenagers tend to have a very pretty selfish mindset. When some sort of misfortune occurs, they tend to resort to gossip and fighting, which is certainly proven to only make situations worse and have negative effects on other people as well. Despite the mayhem caused, Hamlet is still prioritized his family over his own life and showed tremendous amount of perseverance by giving justice to his father and being loved by the kingdom. And therefore I can confidently say that Hamlet is my favorite character. However, I could give him a piece of advice by saying to not be hesitant and indecisive, and don't let that get in the way of doing what is right. I felt he should have been more confident and known that by killing Claudius, the kingdom would have been restored. Now, if you thought Hamlet was interesting and suspenseful, as I did, wait until you hear about the play written by David French in 1972. Leaving Home. This story is about the Mercers, a family from Newfoundland that moved to Toronto, and they're dealing with something big. The parents, Jacob and Mary Mercer, they try their best to keep things together, but with Jacob's drinking problems, sometimes things just get worse. The main dilemma in the play is their son Bill has recently got his girlfriend pregnant, Kathy. Hence, they agreed to get married. However, this has put a lot of pressures on the Mercers because they have different religious beliefs. In addition, their other son, Ben, wants to move out and decides not to tell his father until the last second. Through the play, we observe many counts of conflict, especially examples of person versus person conflict. One example to the story is when Kathy explains how she has lost the baby and no longer is pregnant. Because of this, she believes that they should not get married anymore, and rather takes things slow due to the fact that she feels everything is being forced and rushed. She believes that by postponing the marriage, Bill will have a chance to finish his school and become a better established man and suited to settle down for a family. However, the mother believes they should still get married. This sparks yet another conflict around the table. Another example of person versus person conflict is when Minnie and Kathy start getting verbally aggressive towards each other. They start calling each other names, such as when Kathy calls her mom an old cow and claims that Harold only wants her for her money. Because of this, all the unfortunate events surrounding the pregnancy, we develop a sense of pathos for Bill and worry about his mental health. We can clearly see that he is very lost in life, but unfortunately stuck in this tough situation with Kathy. We also feel a sense of pathos for Ben because he is stuck in a toxic and abusive environment. It is not until the very end when he finally acts by leaving. Throughout the play, we notice a common theme that in order to have a strong and healthy relationship with others, one must be willing to accept and adapt to change and always be open-minded. The Mercer family has a lot of issues, not being able to accept change in others, and it has caused many family dynamic issues. I believe in order to have a strong relationship is to always have an open mind. This is a great skill to adapt because without it, you will be